Welcome to the Prepared School Psych Podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Ponzuric. Today, I'm going to kick off something I haven't done before, which is creating a mini series of podcast episodes all on the same topic. Today is episode 1 of this mini series. How many episodes will there be? I'm thinking 4, maybe 5. Let's see how this goes. Which topic am I covering? Overlapping eligibilities. What do I mean by this term, overlapping eligibilities? I will give some examples in a moment, but here is my disclaimer first. While we have federal language about the different areas of eligibility for special education, individual states have slightly different titles for the different eligibility areas and sometimes slightly different criteria. I'm going to try to be as inclusive as possible in my examples, but some of you may have to use your secret decoder ring to link my language with your specific state language. So, what are some examples of overlapping eligibility? One of my first examples is autism and emotional disability, or emotional disturbance, or emotional behavioral disability or disorder. So many different states have so many different terms for that one. All right, autism and ED or EBD. Both involve difficulties with relationships and often involve behavioral concerns. What's another example? ED and health impairment. In many states, mental health concerns like anxiety or depression can be considered under both ED and health impairment. SLD and health impairment. Some students with an attentional difficulty will meet eligibility under other health impairment, some learning disabilities for some students, and for other students, they might meet eligibility under both. Another example, autism and language impairment. Since most states do not require eligibility under language impairment to be found eligible under autism, but by the way, there does need to be significant difficulty with verbal and nonverbal language. How is this differentiated? Especially, how do we go through this analysis when other assessment team members, like our SLPs, are involved? My last example, intellectual disabilities and autism. We have some students with significant cognitive delays who also demonstrate some autistic like behaviors. Are the behaviors actually because of autism or the significant cognitive delay? Here's just a couple of examples in my mind when I use the term overlapping eligibilities. Now, one of the things to remember, big picture, is that eligibility does not drive service. Goals drive services. Once a student is found eligible for special education, all areas of need related to the disability are supposed to be addressed through goals or accommodations, modifications. Sometimes parents in my meetings think that if a team went with a different eligibility classification than the one that we were recommending, that we might actually come up with different goals or different services might be offered. And we know rarely is that ever the actual case. Now, in my conversation during trainings, I feel that many psychs can get kind of caught in the weeds in trying to choose one eligibility classification or the other with these different overlapping eligibilities. For those of you not seeing my video, yes, overlapping eligibilities, I put in quotes. I have shared many times in trainings that when multiple areas of eligibility are being considered, I look at each area separately and write up whether the student meets the criteria. At the IEP meeting, I review each eligibility classification being considered and tell the team which ones I think the student meets. Then, if the student meets more than one, I typically provide a recommendation for the primary eligibility classification, and then we open it up to the team for that discussion. Now, when I look into the faces of the psychs during these trainings, when these conversations are coming up, it seems to land, but I get a sense that more is needed. And this is why I'm going to be doing a two-part live training series inside the Prepared School Site community in early 2025. Yes, we're going to walk through examples and I'm going to share some different ways that I explain eligibility during IEP meetings. If you are already a member of the Prepared School Site community, awesome. Watch your Monday emails for all the details. Mark your calendars if you want to join live. If you are not yet a Prepared School Site community member, now is the time to join. You'll get access to this two-part live training and the replay if you already have other plans that day. Plus, you get all of our other resources, all of our other video replays, and access to me and my 4 content specialists who are all there to answer your questions. Check out the link inside the show notes and become a member today to get access to the training. I am excited to talk to you soon in part 2 of this podcast mini series. Until then, have a great day. That concludes another episode of the Prepared School Site podcast. And I hope today's discussion equipped you not just with knowledge, but also the confidence to take action. Remember, every conversation we have and every resource we share builds a bridge towards a more inclusive and empowering learning landscape for our students. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast for more insightful conversations and resources to support your journey. Share this podcast with colleagues. We would love it if you would also rate and review the podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Just a reminder, everyone, the information and advice provided in this podcast are for guidance purposes only, and all listeners are required to follow both federal and state law and their own school district guidelines and policies. Thank you.